Subscribe, share the video, comment and like. Stick around here and soon you'll see that my content's 3 out of 3. I've been working night and day, so please don't click away. Mario games I like to play and talk about them all day. It's the annoying self-promotion segment. Ha ha. Salutations, gaming enthusiast. Notice that I used the word enthusiast in its singular form. There may be hundreds, even thousands of people watching this video, but I am talking specifically to you.
Insert name here.
My name is self-promoting overly naggy Georgish entity, or Sponge for short, and I'm here to wash your brain, wipe away your insecurities about subscribing to this magnificent channel. A silly acronym and a metaphor? Wow, this channel has some clever comedic writing. You should think about that for a moment. Okay, that's long enough. Of course, there's plenty of fantastic content already available on the channel for you to watch, as well as plenty of wonderful stuff yet to come. There's Let's Plays, such as my currently ongoing Super Paper Mario playthrough with my good friend Harry.
So be it, I will settle for taking all the coins in your pocket.
That means it's going from a transaction to robbery. Where's the
Are you happy
lead?
with that? Deal or no deal?
Deal.
Okay. You could have gotten it down to free, by the way.
No!
Just thought I'd tell you that after you made a decision. It's kind of odd how this game, the different worlds you go to are described as different dimensions, but also 2D and 3D are described as different dimensions. What counts as a dimension to this game? Everything's a dimension. It's like in Ant-Man when they add the word quantum to everything. Dimensional door, dimensional cup of tea, dimensional chicken sandwich,
Dimensional asparagus.
There's my Mario RPG themed podcast Flatmates that I do with fellow YouTubers Shroob Invader and Benson of the Game Dimension.
I did play the original. I did get the original, but then I don't know what came over me, but I was very, very stupid and thought, oh, the remake is coming out soon. I can sell the classic version and just buy that.
No, you can't do that.
I feel so mad at myself for doing that ever since.
Rule number 1 of gaming: don't do that.
That's, yeah, I think I experienced that with like Super Mario Sluggers or something. I got rid of that game when I was like 7, and I wanted it back so bad like a month later.
This isn't like
Fun fact.
Oh yeah, God, yeah.
Fun fact: Super Mario Sluggers never even came out in England.
What?
Well, I feel bad for you guys.
Yeah, you're missing
I
out.
suppose they thought, British people don't care about baseball. Let's not give it to them.
I mean, can you confirm that?
Can you confirm?
I have never once seen a game of baseball in my life. But
okay, well.
then again, I own and play some Mario Tennis and whatnot games, but I don't watch any of those either. I'm not a very sporty person. I'm not the right person to ask.
That's true.
I mean, to be fair, we all review video games online. I don't think we're all sports people.
And of course, proper, well thought out, scripted videos such as my reviews of various Mario games.
And now we enter the horror portion of the game.
Like sneaking around creepy corridors with no music? Enjoy your friends being suddenly taken by unseen entities? Appreciate being jump-scared by bizarre, not quite alive-looking faceless figures? Do you relish in body horror, where all your allies, shredded, cut-up bodies cover the ground as you approach the boss and then be forced to battle a horrifying amalgamation made out of their faces? If you said yes to any of those questions, this is the perfect holiday retreat for you. And just look at that wealth of wonderful pixel art, painstakingly drawn by yours truly. And that's all for today's annoying self-promotion segment. I can assure you that I'll make no further attempt to influence your decision. And I can assure you that there is nothing suspicious about these final few sentences of footage. Except, of course, for the subliminal messaging. Well, that's all from me today. Please, enjoy my content, subscribe, and until next time, farewell, everyone. Oh! That Ribena is really flipping strong without the water. Citations, gaming enthusiasts. Yeah, sorry, I'm addressing you all. A while ago in Shroob Invader's Discord server, I suggested he make a video ranking the different explosion effects from the bosses of the various Mario and Luigi games. Sadly, he declined, but actually not sadly because now I get to do it. And I have a special guest here today to help me discuss all things Kaboom. It's the Duke of Dynamite, the Emperor of Explosives, it's everybody's favourite flying transparent circle, it's...
Boomer from Super Paper Mario for the Nintendo Wii.
Boom! How are y'all doing, viewers? I may hail from the other Mario RPG series, but I sensed some serious blow stuff up vibes and simply had to participate. Is there really anything more satisfying in life than watching stuff blow up? I think not.
Yes, thank you, Boomer. The real reason you're here is because King Bob-omb was busy with golf.
George?
Yes, Boomer?
Have you ever wondered what your explosion looks like?
No.
Then I suggest you stop talking.
Anyways, the explosions the bosses in this series go through once you defeat them are always satisfying little animations that mark the ends of not only boss fights, but they generally also mark the end of the area you've been travelling through to reach these bosses. All that build up to the defeat of a boss makes these explosions even more rewarding.
Yada yada yada, Paper Jam had the same explosion effect as Dream Team. Does that game even have an identity to call its own at this point?
Wait, really? Oh wow, yeah it does. Blimey, I never even noticed. But I don't think we can call it the worst just because it's a copy. Let's just lump it in with Dream Team when we reach it.
You do what you want. I'm putting it in last on my list. Ain't nothing worse than expecting a delicious new explosion experience, only to get the same flavor you had last week. What flavor of jam is this game? Is it cardboard? Yep, it's cardboard.
Alrighty, wasn't expecting to have two different lists in this video, but okay. We can have Boomer's picks and George's correct opinions.
Watch it? Anyway, why wouldn't we have different lists? I'm my own person. It's not like I'm just a fictional character that you're voicing to provide the illusion of conversation in your video when in reality you're just talking to yourself. Wait, what? Am I? Don't I exist?
So, for the number 6 spot on my list, we have the boss explosions for the original Superstar Saga. There's nothing wrong with this explosion effect, it's decent enough for the rather limited system it's on, the Game Boy Advance. A single explosion with a whole bunch of swirling stars flashing yellow and blue that fill the screen. Before this animation plays, the boss does jerk around in hurt animation for a little bit, but besides from that, there isn't really a gradual build up to the explosion like most of the later games would do really well. Something else against Superstar Saga is both of its final boss explosions just have the same basic explosion as all the regular bosses. Future games in the series would always give the final boss a different, much more impressive explosion, but here, that tradition just hadn't begun yet.
Well, I like the big, quick and straight to the point explosions. I spent 1,500 years in a dark chest just waiting to blow up again, and even then I spent most of my time not exploding. I wish I could blow up this fast and this big.
Wow, I suppose I'd never thought of it from the perspective of a sentient explosive who enjoys blowing up.
And that's why you got me here. Superstar Saga is going straight to second place on my list. Spow!
Second? Okay, sure, why not? In the number 5 spot on my list, I have Dream Team and Paper Jam. Both of them have light build-up emanating from their bodies, and then just sort of erupt stars at the end for another several seconds. It looks quite spectacular, especially when you defeat the elite trio, but I can't help but think, this doesn't look like an explosion. It's like the bosses are all filled with stars and they just sprang a leak, squirting them out of a wound or something. It's a very slow, therefore not all too satisfying explosion. But there's also the giant Luigi/Papercraft battles to consider, in which I'd give Dream Team's multiple camera angles and the very satisfying finishing bros move the edge over Paper Jam's slow, simple collapse of the boss Papercrafts. Similarly with the final boss explosions for these two games, Shiny Robo Bowser just lets loose a load of paper before exploding, whereas Dream Team has a much more drawn out multi-phase explosion where his colours flash between normal and negative, ending in a cooler, dark version of the stars erupting out of him. Also, both of these final bosses let out this big purple shockwave that blows Mario and Luigi away, but it doesn't accomplish anything. They kinda make it look like the shockwave takes out the bros in the explosion too, but nah, they get flung for no reason and then they're just fine. It just seems so funny and farcical when this huge dramatic slow motion blast wipes the bros away, only for them to nonchalantly walk back moments later.
So what you're saying is you like Dream Team's explosions more in the places where they're different? So all that stuff about them sharing a spot is just a load of crap? You may answer with either yes or totally. But they mean the same thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to be wrong and say no?
Totally.
That's more like it. But I actually agree with you. This here may be quite the light show, but it ain't no explosion. That's just a fountain of sparkles.
Number 4 on my list are the boss explosions for Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. These explosions are similar to the ones of Dream Team and Paper Jam, but they've been improved upon. Beams of light begin to glow from the boss's core in stages, each successive set of beams accompanied by glistening sounds climbing in key, sort of akin to Bowser's Inside Story's explosions. Then after this build-up, we get a similar sort of star fountain that Dream Team and Paper Jam had, but this time it's accompanied by actual explosions! A series of 5 banging sounds with shockwaves are released. Heck yeah! This pushes Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions into the actually good part of the list. Wow, who'd have thought that adding actual explosions would do that on a list of explosions? It had all the bright, shining spectacle of the 2 games that came before it, but add some explosions at the end to replace the silly fountain and really bring the satisfaction. I generally prefer the boss explosions that have multiple blasts. You get more boom for your buck. I know I'm British, but boom for your pound doesn't really work. The final boss explosions are rather respectable, good ones too. First, after the usual glowing beams accompanied by some actual flailing around and grasping at Mario and Luigi by Little Miss Evil Cloud over here, which is actually really unique, we then have
the return of the big purple shockwave!
But this time it actually serves a purpose, expelling the bros out of Bowletta. After that, we have a fairly simple, though still cool, dark purple version of the regular boss explosion. Similar to Antasma's explosion from Dream Team, that I'm now realizing that I forgot to mention.
Wow, my mind is just skablooey! We have the same number 4 spot. The extra flair and, actual kabooms were enough to upgrade the flavor of Dream Team's and Paper Jam's explosions from cardboard to, a cheese sandwich with maybe just a little bit of onion for its kick, because it's still pretty bland and middle of the road so far as blow stuff up vibes go. Although those explosions at the end are more of a knocking noise than a kaboom one. More of a boom, 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 boom than a pshh, which every pyrotechnics expert with a truly refined palate knows is a better tasting explosion sound.
Wait, I thought you were just being metaphorical. Are you telling me you can actually taste explosions?
Heck yeah, I can! Check this out! Wait, Boomer, no! Yep, he's definitely British.
Tastes like tea.
In number 3, I have the Bowser's Inside Story remake. This explosion is the pinnacle of the modern era in the series. Unlike most, it doesn't start with a build-up. It gets right down to business with a quick flurry of 6 smaller explosions, followed by an ethereal sound as a blinding white light encompasses the boss, building up for a couple of seconds but not overstaying its welcome. Finally, the animation comes to a satisfying conclusion with one great final burst.
A clear, neat circular shockwave is released and fades away slowly, as a sort of quiet, almost peaceful afterthought at the end of such commotion. The boss then fades away once the smoke from the final blast clears, and this incredible display is at an end. It actually goes by pretty quick, but it's certainly one of the most satisfying explosions in the whole series. That was beautiful! Boomer, are you crying? I didn't even mention the final boss explosion yet. I know, it's not my turn to speak yet, but that was beautiful, man. The way you perfectly summed up the sheer beauty of this explosion. It touched me, man. All this time, I didn't think you really got this, you know, but after that, mad respect. You crazy, poetic little Mario nerd, you. And before you talk about the final boss explosion, I just want to say this is my #1 pick for this list. Because of all the reasons you just gave, I couldn't have said it any better. I just love blowing stuff up so much. Spoo! Wow, alright, the two final boss explosions of the Dark Star Core and Dark Bowser are pretty much just the regular explosion, but dark and purpley, and, cooler. But the core also has this huge shockwaves afterwards too, which is kinda weird that the second final boss has the lesser explosion. That's it? What happened to all the passion? Come on, Boomer, almost all of the final boss explosions are just darker versions on their respective games. Besides, I've been describing explosions for ages now, and it's hard to come up with unique stuff to say about them all. I'm getting so sick of saying explosion over and over and over. So far in my rankings, I've done my best to be mostly objective, although it does also represent my actual preferences and favourites. So you think your personal ranking is also the objective correct ranking? Talk about arrogant. Why did I invite you again? To make self-aware jokes about your own shortcomings so people in the comments won't call you out on them or judge you silently from behind their screens? Okay, yeah, maybe. Anyways, as I was saying, I've tried to be largely objective with my list thus far, but for this second place spot, screw it. Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story has my second favourite boss explosions, and that's completely based on nostalgia. Well, not completely per se. I do think it's a great explosion. It's just that I can see that it's been surpassed since by its own remake, and probably even by the Superstar Saga remake too. But I just always loved this explosion so heckin' much. Compared to most of the others, it's a very simple explosion. Beams of light burst out of the boss in stages accompanied by this sound that sounds just like how I'd expect light to sound if it made one. And after a few seconds of this build-up, there's one big final explosion releasing a whole bunch of yellow and blue stars. I always adored the way the beams of light shone out little by little before the explosion. It feels like the perfect amount and style of build-up before the big boom. It's not all that showy or stylish or impressive, but it's really satisfying and I love it. I suppose it's the second simplest in the series after Superstar Saga, but I think the build-up absolutely improves on what that game did tenfold. And Dark Bowser's explosion is also fantastic. After Bowser sends him up with his also very satisfying KO punch, he falls back down and a purplish fog develops. The fog is then sucked in towards Dark Bowser gradually over time, after which, instead of beams of light, beams of pure black darkness erupt from the Dark Star vessel, before ending in a huge explosion where these blobs of darkness things all burst out in every direction. Build up, schmild up. It just makes it take longer to get to the good bit. I'd get rid of my own fuse so I could always blow up right away if Mario would let me. But no, he wants to decide when I explode, so I gotta wait. And you're abandoning your objectivity? How dare you taint the integrity of this very serious list with your nostalgia? Good thing I got the nerve to put it where it belongs. At the bottom with Mr. and Mrs. Cardboard McGee over here, in 5th place. I bet you can't guess which game's explosion is in first place. I'll take that bet. 20 quid on the viewers being able to guess it.
No, Boomer, that was just a joke about how there's only one game left to rank. How would we even—
He's backing out! You there watching this? If you guessed which game is number 1, comment, you owe Boomer 20 pounds.
No, wait.
Dude, I'm trying to raise your interaction.
Oh yeah, go ahead. And of course, if you somehow didn't guess it before Boomer accepted the bet, go ahead and tell Boomer he owes me 20 quid. Anywho, the explosions in the number 1 spot of my list is, of course, Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. This game has what is probably the most unique explosion effect. The boss convulses wildly. 5 huge pink screen-filling shockwaves burst out immediately with no build-up, hurling countless yellow and blue stars out in every direction. They seem to spin and flip around uncontrollably as they're flung, as if they're 3-dimensional objects. It all looks remarkably impressive. Alongside the visuals, there's this really odd sound. It's hard to put my finger on it, but it sounds kind of organic. It's not like the sharp sounding beams of light. It doesn't sound like an actual explosion. It almost sounds like the boss is crying out in pain. Or something. Like, ow, ow, ow. Kind of like that. That sounded weird. It does sound kind of vocal anyway. It's strange, but it really works. Elder Princess Shroob's explosion is the same, except with grey shockwaves and intense booming sounds instead of the bizarre one I just spoke about. A rather simple couple of changes, but it really goes a long way. It feels even more intense than usual. This is another game and explosion effect that I'm very nostalgic for. I know, nostalgic over an explosion effect, that's a weird thing to say. But this time, I'm more sure about my choice. Alpha Dream managed to make a wonderfully spectacular explosion on the Nintendo DS that I think looks way better than several of the 3DS entries. If I was forcing myself to be fully objective, I might just put the Bowser's Inside Story remake explosions over it, but that's a maybe. It's kinda ironic that after seeing the praises of the fantastic build-up in Bowser's Inside Story's explosions, I'm giving the number 1 spot to an explosion that's all kaboom and no build-up.
You're right, this is an odd one. But I have to say, those are some big explosions. I do like that there's no waiting. This is one spicy explosion. I'm giving it a very respectable number 3 spot on my list. Well, George Mario Nerd, it's been fun. Thanks for having me on, Splammo! Feel free to invite me back if you ever need someone to talk explosions with again. Spoom! Or if you need any demolition done, Skablooey!
Must you do that after every sentence?
I've been holding most of them in throughout this video. Spow! I can't help it, I gotta make up for lost time. You just do your outro. Splapow!
Okay then, thank you ever so much for watching, dear viewer. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to press the like button and subscribe for more fun content. I'm really hoping to reach 1,000 subscribers this year, so I'd love your help reaching that goal. Thank you again for watching, and until next time, farewell everyone. Boomer! Will you please shut up?
Bye for now!